Hello there. Thank you, first of all, to Poets and Players for inviting me to read here. It's really lovely to be here. And so I am, at the moment, a proud resident of Manchester, but I was born and brought up in East Sussex. And so I'm going to start with a poem that brings a piece of Sussex woodland to Oxford Road. And it's called Walking, Dwelling, Thinking. This wood has 1,000 exits and entrances, stiles, gates and trippets, gaps and breaches. This wood is hammer pond, chestnut and chalybeate, charcoal and slag heaps, leats and races. This wood hides the boar sow in a thickety hemel, is home to the scutty, the flindermouse, the kine. This wood is cut and coppiced and burned, each decade catched hurt, it takes a tumble. This wood is two green and clay flanks, pinched by a link of iron bridge over water. This wood keeps its secrets, the peaty black knucklehole where the dragon lies sleeping. This wood scolds with a tawny owl's brogue, shrieking and shrieking, quick, hoo-hoo. This wood is ashen, elden and oaken, a mile from the village, ring-fenced and well-trodden. This wood summons you from out of your house to walk through leaf-fall and bluebells and moss. So there were a couple of words of Sussex dialect in there, and also some things that maybe you wouldn't expect to find in the south or east of England, so like slag heaps. But the landscape I grew up in was a post-industrial rural landscape. So I'm now going to read a couple of poems that are about works of art. They're specifically about paintings by the artist Leonora Carrington. And I saw her surreal art, first of all, at Pallant House and then at Tate, Liverpool, and have written a few different poems, and the poems I'm reading have the same title as the painting. So the first one is, And Then We Saw the Daughter of the Minotaur. She has a big heart, black glass eyes and 7 stomachs spooled to a labyrinth beneath the cage of bone and cartilage. You wouldn't think it to see her, hands delicate as lunar moths, how tirelessly she chased the thread of herself, birthing this or that along the way until the floor was tacky with blood. Every door is a bitter end, but turn the key and the last door opens back upon the place you set out from. Here again and still, so very far from what you're looking for. Why you left home, why you can't return. She knows. The Minotaur's daughter is a double-bitted axe, cutting both ways. On the terrace, Jasmine has taken root through the marble, the vine thick as her wrist and the night sent bruising. She rises from her seat at the table. Never mind, the children are watching. A dog barks, and she nods her horns and sides your legs from under you, and you tumble like a shock of corn. Yes, the universe is a musty black cloth, moth-nibbled, so the flecks of light shine through, and you wait in the wings, wearing a dress they call diaphanous. Embarrassingly so. But then the band strikes up, and in a rush, like a spill of milk, you see the wheel of suns turning, and she folds you under, and down you go. And the next Leonora Carrington poem is called The House Opposite. And later, wherever it is you settle, that first house shines through, like the lustre of wood beneath layers of tempera. The cavernous cellar is long since flooded. A flight of brick steps ends in a sink of black water. Shut the door on the dark. Draw a chalk circle. Here is the attic window that framed the moon. Here is the wardrobe, the bookcase and chair. Here is the staircase that twists to a ladder, spanning root and bloom. It is a bridge blown from glass, so trot across. At the table, 3 women sit and eat. Look up as you enter. Move to make room for one more. So one of the things I've been writing about over the past 3 years in this collection of poetry, I've been working on at the Centre for New Writing with Vona Brugg, my supervisor, is a series of poems about a Victorian explorer called Kate Marsden, who went to Siberia searching for a cure for leprosy. And when she came back, she published a book about her travels, and for various reasons, her journey started to be doubted, and scandal around her life meant that she ended up dying in poverty. And I've been exploring her work in a series of poems, and the one that I'm going to read to you today is called A Great Work. What stirs the blood? Not tea and muffins, not tatting and quilling. I like to wrestle. I like the heavy lifting, the hard work of shaping and making, as the sea at Couden Beach relishes the work of lifting a shingle over and again across its threshold. I love you, because loving you is not light work, not woman's work, yet it is the patch I have been given. Clay and sandstone, hefted by the shovelful, clearing a space on rough ground for something to take shape. It is not dainty work, but a shift to suit this grafter's love. One day, I woke to find my heart had upped sticks and gone east, like the village of Russian serfs you spoke of, fugitives, unwavering in their belief in some distant place, the underground kingdom of Belavodia, ruled by the White Tsar and the Maiden Truth, where each person gains, at last, the thing she longs for. And I'm going to read one more poem, and so this is in the category of poems I've been writing that Vona describes as wonky love poems. And the wonky lovers in this poem are based on my grandparents, who wrote a series of letters to each other during the Second World War, even though they actually only lived a few miles apart in London. And the letters are both really mundane, because they're things like, I'm taking a bath now, and they're also surprisingly sexy. But I guess the thing that also interested me or struck me about them is that my grandfather was very dyslexic, and so a lot of the words that he writes he misspells, including he calls my grandmother my dearest Angle all the way through the poems, which I really enjoyed, and I'm sure that she did as well. So this poem is called The Corresponding Lover. Writes to you on notepaper, filched from the munitions factory store. He addresses you, my dearest Angle, words being a thorn thicket he tangles with, also misspelling your 3-syllable name, the country of your birth, other common or garden words that in his hand snag and turn back upon themselves. But you won't correct him, being truly more Angle than angel, with your scimitar smile, spill of ink-black hair and foreigner's accent, catching like a burr on the briskness of received pronunciation. His daily letter names your parts, which he adores, your bumpy nose, tender buttons, how he sings out your name. He anticipates your next visit, the two of you, hands clasped and creeping in stockinged feet past his landlady's front door. Upstairs, door closed, his hasty hands are on your thighs and underneath your skirt before you've taken off your coat. Tossing shoes under the bed, jumper wrenched overhead, he slides you between sheets, grey with coal dust. His fingers span your throat, inscribe your breasts, the round of your stomach, and between your thighs, cupping your buttocks. Your body is smoothed by his touch, malleable as memory beneath the press of his thumb. Afterwards, you sleep in his narrow bed, the creased sheet, an envelope that holds you pressed hip to hip, a near-perfect fit.